So in last session, like we are done with all the tabs which are available over here, and the last class I am working with the last month update only. I updated with the latest version of Power BI. So where we are having some discussion with respect to bookmarking. I said yesterday that you can add this page like bookmarks pane. You can add this page, and from anywhere if you want you can access to that page. On the other hand, what they provide is they provide a cross filtering option. So even if you select any of the filters which are available here, you can add it, and whenever you click on it, you will be redirected to that specific state of that page, whatever you saved, whatever you cross filtered. So that is what the feature they added for the already existing bookmarks option. And there is a field properties tab, another new tab is there, which is nothing but you can provide the description to your fields. So field properties is another tab. For your fields, if you want to provide some description, you can provide it here. Or if you want to rename your field, these fields are coming from your source. Like it might be SQL Server or SSS cubes. But if you want to rename your fields, you can rename it, and you can provide a description. So whatever the description that you provided, whenever the business user over that field, specific field, it is going to give a description whatever you provided. I just given as a ABC, that is getting displayed over here. As part of why it is required, where it is required is as you are providing it as a self service. Okay, at that time the other people need to understand, right, whatever the name that you given. So Power BI is providing you to provide a descriptions. You can provide a description, so whenever they are creating their own reports, ad hoc records, whenever they over it, they will get a clear description or whatever you are defined it for. So that ABC is representing. And here the same field properties you can configure from field level options properties. On a column level, we saw the properties of all the properties which are available there, but a newly another option added which is nothing but a properties. So if you click on it, you can see that properties tab. So those are the options which are came newly, which we are missed so far, whatever the discussion which we are done. The remaining options, as part of other discussions, it will continue. So view tab we discussed, modeling tab we discussed, and help, format, data drill we discussed, along with the home tab. Now we have the options associated with the data tab is there. So data tab, as I already said, data view is nothing but if you want to see the data associated with the table that you loaded, the data tab will be helpful. You can see the raw data which you loaded. For each query, what data you got loaded will be displayed over here. This one here, if you click on it, you can see that sort ascending or descending. If you want to see the data ascending or descending, you can play from here. And if you done some ascending or descending, if you want to remove that sorting, clear sort option is there. And copy, if you want to copy this column, you can copy it and you can paste it as part of a new table, or you can extract it as part of Excel sheet also. Okay, so if you want to extract that column into an Excel, so I copied that column and I pasted it here. So you don't have anywhere export option from a Power BI desktop. If you are feeling that boss, I'm getting the data from some online source or some API call I'm getting, I don't have any database. I want to validate that data. If you wanted to have that kind of requirement, Power BI directly not providing any export option or extract option from Power BI. What you need to do is from your data view, we have an option called copy or copy table. Copy the table, paste it here. You don't have direct export option, and that is what copy table. New measure, new column. We already had a discussion. And refresh data. If you want to refresh this column, this table, you can refresh it. Like edit query. One second. We have been attending from last 6 days of time. You need to be comfortable with the tool. Okay. So I should not wait for 5 or 10 minutes of time in order to adjust this background noises. Fine. So new measure, new column. We already had a discussion. Refresh data is nothing but if you want to refresh this table, you can use that refresh option. And edit query, like if you want to do some transformations, you are going to use this one. Rename, if you want to rename a column, and if you want to delete a column, if you want to hide it as part of the table, unhide all, new group, everything we already discussed. And as part of home tab, from a data view perspective, all the options were covered, which are enabled. New measure, new column, quick measure, and refresh, edit queries, everything is discussed. And a modeling tab, everything is discussed in yesterday's session. All were discussed. And a help tab also. There are nothing to discuss as part of a data view. Why? Because whatever the properties which we need to discuss at the data view had a discussion yesterday. These things. Fine. So these are the options which are available at the data view. And the third one is relationship view. So as I said, you can create a relationships here, or on the other note, you need to create data model here. Okay, we can create a data model here. So by drag and drop, we are going to create a relationship. As I said, you can drag it and drop it any direction. So in relationship view, you can create a relationships. You don't have any right click options over here. And on a table level, you can delete it. You can hide from a model. If you want to rename a table, you can rename it here also. Maximize. I wanted to see all the columns available here. You can maximize it. You can focus it. Or if you have more columns than this, you have a scroll bar will come. You can navigate it. So that is what the maximize option. And here you have maximize option is there. So and on a column level, you can delete it, you can hide it, and you can rename it. Other than that, you don't have any options on this space. And home tab, we discussed everything. And modeling tab, manage roles and view roles, we discussed. And I will explain what is synonym and language. And help tab, so we discussed everything. Now the only thing which we are not aware is synonyms. Synonyms here, as I said, Power BI supports Q&A. Like you can ask a question to the data set, automatically a visualization will get created. That feature is there. So in order to ask a question, whenever you ask a question, it will generate a visualization which you are going to see. But in order to ask a question, you need to have a proper names for your columns. How the Power BI detect is based on the column name that you are going to ask as part of question, it is going to generate a visualization. If your column names are containing some lengthy names, some A underscore B underscore C underscore D, how the business user can understand that one? You need to provide a meaningful names. But is it fine now, Shiv Prasad? Now is it fine? Hello? Okay, fine. So, cool. Sometimes, if your column names are lengthy names or not a meaningful names, at that time you need to provide a meaningful aliases for that columns, so that the business user can able to understand very easily, and you or business user can ask the questions. For that, we have a synonyms concept is there. Here you can provide your whatever the name that you wanted to refer for the table or a columns with the transaction ID, how you wanted to refer, you can provide it here. Why? Because you cannot control your source column names, right? So here you can change it, and that names also with with the relevant names you can provide a relevant names as part of synonyms here. Just a second. Christian, is it fine now? Okay, fine. So sorry for the inconvenience. So the synonym concept in Power BI, we have a Q&A section is there where you can write a question and Power BI automatically generate a visualization. As part of it, in order to provide a meaningful name for your columns, like whenever you need to ask a question, you need to type that question like column name also. At that time, instead of having a lengthy names, you can provide a meaningful name to your column with the help of a synonym. So you can provide another name to your column or your table with the help of a synonyms. So Q&A section we are going to have a discussion next 2 or 3 days of time. And the languages. These languages also is related to Q&A. So at this point of time, Power BI supports English and Spanish language. So that is what is representing here. So Q&A we are going to see as part of visualizations. And the other two options, manage roles and view roles, we already had a discussion, and help we already had a discussion. So these are the options associated with all the tabs. As part of fields, filters, visualizations, report view, data view, and relationship view, home, modeling, format, view, help, drill, and data. These are all the properties which are available with all these tabs. Out of all, on a high level, we didn't cover the edit queries, we didn't work with how to load the data, and we didn't work on hierarchies, we didn't work on a what if analysis parameter, and the synonyms like Q&A section. Those things will be covered as part of coming sessions. And so it is one level of our discussion. As I said, you will be comfortable with all the windows. Like at this point of time, you know each window what it is going to do. Now, the next level of discussion is we have two options are there. One is we need to start with edit queries or visualizations. We'll start working with the visualizations like today and tomorrow, and from day after tomorrow we are going to work on sources. So we are going to start with visualizations now. Before starting the visualizations, does anyone has any questions on all the windows whatever we discussed so far? Arpit, Ashraf, Brahma, and Deepti, Jahnavi, Jaychandra, Manoj, Manasa, Nagarjuna, Shankar Reddy, Shiv Prasad, Sugata, Srijit. Whatever the windows that we covered so far, any questions?
No questions, Srinivas.
Fine. Questions? Dipti, still your machine is not working? Fine.
Screen was working.
Okay, fine. So the next thing is, the next one is, we are going to start with the visualizations. We'll understand the visualizations, and then after we are going to start working on the data sources, and then after it queries we'll have a discussion. So as part of visualizations, so far we have been using that bar chart, pie chart, card, but we didn't had a proper discussion on it. What are the properties are there, how to configure them. So now we'll understand that one. So as part of it, the first visualization is slicer. Slicer. So this one will allow you to filter the report. Will allow the user to filter the report. If the developer need to filter something, we have filters concept is there so that he can restrict the data to the user. But whatever the report that we provided to the user, if the user wanted to filter it down, he want to search whatever he want. At that time, we have a slicer option is there. So here you can provide a column as input, and you can create a visualizations. You can create a visualization so that if the user wanted to see only Tamil Nadu, he can filter on it. Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, he can filter it down. So with the help of a slicer, we can filter the report, and user can filter the report, and here it is going to take a one column as a input. If you want to provide another column, that is going to override. See, at any point of time, only one column is getting accepted, whatever you want. So for that, so it is going to take only one column as a input, and that options available here are the first one, focus mode. So if you want to highlight this one, you can highlight it. So like whenever you are presenting your report to anyone, if you want to highlight your any specific visualization, we have an option called focus. Focus means it is going to maximize it, and it is going to only that visual will be displayed. And here you have an option called search. Sometimes your dimension contains many values. At that time, if you want to provide a search option also to the user, you can search so that user can able to filter it whatever they want instead of dragging from top to bottom. Okay, you can enable the search option here. Then after, export data. If you want to export this visual data or any visual data, you have export data option is there, so that a CSV file will be generated. On that file, that column values will be available here. And show data. Show data means the data associated with that visualization will be showcased. Here you have only one column. Even if you use a show data, the same column will be get displayed. And remove. If you want to remove this visualization, you can remove it. You can delete this visualization from this report page. Spotlight. Spotlight is another way of highlighting a visualization. Only that visualization will be highlighted instead of making a focus. This visualization will get focused. That is what the spotlight. These two will be useful whenever you are presenting your report with anyone as part of presentations. Sort by city name. If you want to sort your cities, whatever the data that you are representing, if you wanted to sort it, you can. Ascending to descending, descending to ascending. These are the options available on a slicer. And here you have an option clear selections. Clear selections, by default, slicer will allow you to select only one option. I want to select Guntur and Hyderabad both. By default one, you can configure it. I will tell you where you need to configure. But whenever you select something, one or two or three, if you want to unselect that one, you have this erase button option is there. It will remove that selection. And based on the type of data that you are handling, you have a different options will be there. List or a drop down. So list means Like individual values will get displayed. If you are having 100 values, you will have a high list, or you whenever you reduce it, you will have a scroll bars will come. And a drop down means you can display them as a drop down. User will select the list of values whatever they want. In order to save the space, you have a drop down option is there. These are the properties associated with a slicer. And here, not only textual column, you can provide a numeric column also. I am providing amount paid. What it is going to showcase is the list of distinct values are getting showcased here. The list of distinct values, and remaining all options are same. Here, the options will change on this space. Previously, you have list and a drop down only is there, but now you have different options called between. If a user wants to search between a specific range, they can select. Or sometimes your starting might be fixed, sometimes your ending is fixed. At the time, like less than or equal to, you can specify less than or equal to 500. All the payments which are done less than 500 I want to see. You can. Or sometimes I want to see the sales of products where the amount paid is minimum 500. At the time greater than or equal to, I'll specify 500. So the sales greater than 500 is representing. So based on the data type of a column that you are using, it is showcasing the options. And whenever you select a date column, for a decimal and number the same options will come. For a date column, here between option is there. So you can specify what is the starting date, what is the starting date, and what is the ending date. You can specify. Between the dates, the data will get displayed. Or you can specify before, like you can specify the ending value, or you can specify after starting value. You can specify. Okay, after January 1st 2017 I want to see the data. Okay, at that time we can see. And list, if you wanted to see the individual values only, you can display as a list. Or if you want to provide as a drop down, you can provide it, all the independent values. And relative, as I said, if you want to see the last 30 days, last 15 days, or last 2 months, or last 1 year, if it is a dynamic of like dynamic of selection, you can provide like this, like last 2 years. It is going to display last 2 years data. Or if you specify last 1 year data or last 3 years data, it is selecting the automatic dates. You can provide a relative options based on whatever your requirement is. So based on the data type of a column that you are using, this slicer is giving an options to filter that report. And now here the customization options are there for this slicer. In this tab, it is going to showcase two options to you. One is what are the columns that you are giving as input. Second one is filters whatever you want to apply. Second one is customization. So this visual is fine, but I want to customize that one. Let me go with the book name. So here I want to customize that one. General outline color option is there. Outline color and one second. Outline color and outline weight, and outline color and weight we'll see in 2 minutes of time. Generally the outline color and weight is nothing but there will be a line between a header and a value. this Power BI by default it is disabling and enabling these features. That is the worst thing. So we'll discuss that one after 1 minute of time. So orientation, how you want to display your values. That is nothing but like you have a vertical and horizontal, two options are there. Horizontal means like you can display the values in horizontal, and vertical means a bar like list will come. So however you want, you can select those options. And X position, Y position, width and height. What is the height and width of your visualization will be specified by that height and width, and where you want to place that one will be defined by that X position and Y position. That you can manage it with the help of a mouse. Okay. And so if you want to provide some description so that user can see, like whenever the user hovers here, if they want to see something, you can write a description here. And the selection controls, I said by default you can select only one thing, but if you want a multiple selection, you need to enable like disable the single selection on so that user can select multiple options. See, if people will develop with a single selection, you are going to share the report. The other people will analyze this one and they will give another requirement as I need to select multiple things. Okay, so you can by like at the beginning stage itself you can off it so that user can select a multiple options. That is what single select. And a select all, if you want to provide an option to the user that select all option also, you can, so that at a time you can select and unselect everything with the help of select all. And a header is nothing but the book name whatever it is representing. What is the color that you want to provide, what is the background color, and here the outline is none was specified, which means no line was provided, which is separated between the header and the value. You can specify bottom only and go to that general. You can increase the width, you can change the colors. That is why I stopped there. By default the outline is none, but you can configure it here whatever the color that you want as a separator between the header and the values. That is what header, like header, what color that you want to give for a font, what is the background color, and where you want to provide outline, and header text size. Okay, and here font family, with what font family you wanted to represent, you can specify here. So those are the options of header. And items are nothing but the values, whatever it is getting. For that values, with what size you want to represent, what family, font family, outline, if you want to provide any line separated between each and every value, not required. And what is the font color, and what is the background, if you want to provide any background color for each and every value, you can provide it. These are the options associated with items. Okay, and the title. So title, for each and every object in a Power BI desktop, in each and every object of a report page, you have these options will be available as I already said. So now consider a scenario that I created a slicer with a book name and it is giving a list of books. Your manager asked you, boss, book, it is not a book name. You need to give an option called select a book name or select a book. You need to provide that header as a customized. For that, does Power BI supporting at this point of time? No. If you want it, enable it. If you don't want, disable it. But whatever you want to give, it is not accepting here. But your manager is asking you that I don't need this book name or book ID or something. I want a text. Select a book. If you have that requirement, what you need to do is you need to disable the header. You need to enable a text. You need to enable a title. So title has all the properties of your header, and it is allowing you to provide your own customized option here. Select a book. Now you can configure the font color, that background color, font family, size, alignment, everything. So if you want to provide your own custom titles, you have the title option is there. From here onwards, I will not refer any discussion regarding the title. Understand once again, whatever you are representing as part of your report to page, you can provide a custom title based on your requirement. You need to enable it, you need to provide a text whatever you want, and font color, background color, alignment, text size, font family. Those are only the properties. So we provided a select a book and background. For this complete visualization, whatever you are seeing, if you want to provide some background color, you can provide. And transparency is nothing but the color thickness, how much color you want to apply. So you can saturate the color by decreasing that, by increasing the transparency. So background is nothing but providing a background color to that visualization or that object. Title is nothing but providing a custom title. And lock aspect, we don't have any functionality. And border, if you want to enable a border, you can enable it, and you can change the color to it, like whatever the border color that you want, if you can specify there. So these are the configuration which is available for slicer. First of all, understand the slicer functionality. With the help of a slicer, you can interact with the report, you can filter the report. So here, book name wise, the profit. So we are creating a report with a multiple visualizations. We are providing a slicer. User can select a Java. Whenever he select a Java, Java wise profit, and Java wise, like all the city wise, Java wise, the amount paid it is representing. So user can able to interact with the report with the help of this slicer. With the help of a slicer, user can interact and drill down your report. For that purpose, we'll use this one. And all the properties I already explained. Anyone has any questions on it?
Srinivas, what is the difference between the filter? We have page level filter. What is the difference between that page level filter and the
Yes,
slicer?
slicer, yes. Okay. So the filter, whatever the filter that you apply, let me take something. Okay. So we are going to load the data from a database. At that time, you will have a concept called a parameter. Instead of loading the complete table or a complete query data, we'll send some input and we'll load the required data. At that time, we can use a concept called parameter. Once you load the data, let's assume you have 100 records were loaded. But based on my business requirement, I am going to filter based on year wise or product wise or like region wise, whatever. I am going to provide some filtering on a loaded data, and I am showcasing only few records to the outside. For everyone. At that time, we are going to use a filter. So you are restricting the data and you are going to share the limited data to the outside. For that, we are using a concept called filter. So once you expose the 50 records to the, let's assume 3 users, U1, U2 and U3, these 3 people can able to see that 50 records, and these people can filter down based on their requirement. Okay, you are sharing a report of 3 states to me, but I don't care about the remaining 2 states. I want to see only one state data. What I am going to do with the help of a slicer, I am going to slice down your report according to my needs. So user can play with slicer. Developer is going to, in order to restrict the data to the user, the developer is going to use a filter and a parameter. Clear, Arpit? That slicer is for end user perspective. End user, based on their requirement, they are going to filter the report, but at whatever the filter that we discussed, that is going to use by the developer, that will be applicable for all the users. The outcome of the filter will be given to everyone. On that, the user can filter down based on their requirement.
Okay, so here in filter, we do not have the option to show the drop down or to select. Select option is not there in filter.
We have like that is what a basic and advanced filtering concept, right? In a so you are referring this one, right? Filter.
Yes.
So this one will be given by the developer.
Okay.
So see, let's assume for a state called Andhra Pradesh, we have a 10 product sales are there. Okay, and our database have a 3 states data. Developer need to create a report for Andhra Pradesh only. So what he is going to do? He is going to keep a filter on a report, a page level or report level, and he will select a state called Andhra Pradesh. And the outcome of that report is going to represent Andhra Pradesh 10 products. But the user don't want the 10 products. User want to see the product 1 and product 2. At that time, what he is going to do, with the help of a slicer, he is going to see product 1 and product 2. And overall, he can see Andhra Pradesh data only. He cannot see 3 states. Why? Because developer filtered the state with only one state, and he is giving only one state information to the user. On that one state, this guy can able to slice down with the help of a slicer. So end user cannot modify your filters.
Yeah. Okay. Understood. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone has any questions? Srijit, go ahead.
Yes, yes. Yes, do we have any like date slices, like according to the date, we can change the visuals, like any date slicer, like
Date slicer date slicer is nothing but, on a slicer, if you give a date column as input, that date slicer will work. And what exactly your requirement is?
like uh, like if I say according to the date, the visuals will change in the page. The
So
visual
see,
data should change in the
automatically,
page, something like that.
one second, your voice is breaking. Can you please repeat your question again?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Hello?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, what I was asking is, like we suppose if we have a date slicer, like according to the dates,
Hmm.
the visual data should change. Like when you keep changing the slicer date,
No,
the
that is the
visuals should change.
that is what the default functionality, right? So here,
Okay,
if I select a city, it is visualization is changing with respect to city. If I given a slice date as an input for that slicer, whenever I change the date, automatically that also will change. Okay.
okay,
So now if I select a C, it is getting filtered based on C, right? And if I
yeah,
select
yeah,
a C++, it is getting filtered based on C++. In the same way, if I give a date column here, and if I filtered based on, so date column I provided here, let me modify. So here I provide as a date column, and you can change your source like starting and ending date
oh,
according to it.
okay,
It is going to change.
okay, fine.
See, you are
So
able
we
to
can,
see that there is some change here.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
fine. Anyone has any other questions? Okay, fine. So this is a slicer, and a slicer can accept only one value. But as part of our environment, you know that there are a lot of dimensions will be there. If you consider about a product, I have a product category, product family, product category, product subcategory, product name will be there. If I consider about a geography, I have a region, country, state, city will be there. If I want to filter down based on the time period, year, quarter, month, you will be there. So at that time, if you want to provide more options to the user, you need to provide more filters, or you need to create more visualizations. But your slicer is going to accept only one value. If I want to represent all the flexibility to my user, that he need to select a product category or he need to select a product family, I need to provide a four slicers, which is going to take my lot of space here. For that, we have other slicers are there, which are custom visualizations. Custom visualizations, we have a hierarchical slicer is there. There you are going to give your hierarchy as input to that slicer. So we are going to discuss as part of our sessions each and every functionality of the visualization. An extended concept will be there as part of a custom visualizations will be there. I will tell you what are the visualizations that you need to practice at the end of a visualizations concept. You just need to download them and import them and use it. I might ask you for a documentation also, as I have almost 13 plus confirmed resources are there. So I might ask you people to develop some documentation on the visualization. So even each person, if they do 2 visualizations, we can have a documentation for a 20 visuals. You all people can enjoy the 20 visualizations, the purpose, usage, functionality, and everything. That will help you not only for interviews, as part of your report, also personal, professional work environment also that will help you. So I am clearly saying custom visualizations. I will tell you what you need to practice. You need to download them. You need to import them, and you need to use it, and you need to understand it. Fine. So the next visualization is this is a slicer, and next one is card visualization is there. Card. Here, if you want to showcase any numbers, or if you want to showcase the percentages, if you want to showcase a single value, we are going to use a card. Okay. So for that, you need to provide a input, and here the properties available are export data. It will export the data into a CSV file, remove, and a spotlight. And the properties available here are data label. The data, if you want to change the color of it, okay, and how to represent the data. So by default, auto is there, but you want to represent the data exact value, or if you want to represent the data in a millions or a billions or trillions, you can configure here. Okay. So none is going to represent a complete number, and a value decimal places. Sometimes you are going to represent a decimal value. At the time, how many decimals you wanted to represent, or sometimes this value is coming as a decimal value. Okay, dot zero it is coming. You want to remove the decimals, or you want to display the decimal values. You can value decimal places. You can provide how many decimals that you want to represent. If there is a value, it is going to display. If there is no value, it is going to display zeros. Zero means it is going to remove the decimal places. Text size, what is the text size that you want to provide? And font family, with what font family you want to represent? And category label. From here onwards, if you refer a term called category, it is nothing but the column name. Okay. So amount paid, if you want to provide a configuration for it, you can increase the size, you can change the color, and what is the font family. And the order wrap. Order wrap, if you want to enable or disable the order wrap, you can use it. If you off it, it is going to adjust the space. In this, especially at a card level, it is going to adjust the space. And title, I already explained. Background already explained. Border and general, everything is explained. Okay. This is a card visualization. You are able to see, in order to represent the numbers, in order to represent a single values, you can able to use this card. And you have multi-row card is there. So you need to represent a multiple numbers are there. At the time, instead of configuring each and every card which is going to occupy a space, you can select a multi-row card. And select a multi-row card. So multiple values you can represent over here. So whenever you are representing a multiple values, you have focus mode, which is going to maximize that visualization, is going to showcase the data, and export data, remove spotlight, the same options whatever explained. These are not at all useful on this context. Why? Because you have only one value you are representing. On that value you no need to perform any sorting. Okay, sort by profit, sort by pending amount, sort by amount paid. Those are the independent single values you have. If you sort it, what will happen? Nothing will happen. If you have city wise amount paid, at that time if you sort it based on amount paid, sorting will be performed on a city or on another dimension. But as you have a single value, there is no use at all. So ignore these values at this point of time. I will showcase as part of another visualization. But so export data, remove and spotlight, we already had a discussion. And the other properties are data labels. So what is the configuration that you want to provide for data labels? And font color and font family. And the category labels, which are nothing but the column names. You can increase it. And card, which means this complete one. For that card, outline, if you want to provide any outline, you can provide it. And if you provide it, what is the color, what is the width. Okay, and show bar is nothing but this is the bar. You want to enable or not? If you want, you can represent that bar. And bar color, and the padding. Padding is nothing but the difference between that outline and values, like this value and this category. You can provide that one. And a background, if you want to provide some background color to your card, you can provide it. And a title, background, general and border, we already had a discussion. So this is multi-row card. So card is going to display a single value, and if you want to represent a multiple independent values, you have a multi-row card option is there. If you use that one, you can reduce the space. So that is what multi-row card. And the next one is gauge visualization. Gauge. So here, what is the use of a gauge is, so sometimes we are going to work on operational reports. Like I know that what is the amount of money that I am going to get. Okay, or I know that how many files that are going to submit. I know that what is going to happen. Okay, in that time, which means I know my expectation and I know what is happening. If I want to represent that one through a visualization, I have gauge visualization is there. What it is going to showcase is what is your target, how much you achieved. That is going to represent with, that can be represented with the help of a gauge visualization. To represent that one, you have some fields are there. You need to configure. So far we simply drag and drop and we observed. From here onwards, how to configure, understand. So this gauge visualization, what is you achieved, how much you got, that can be represented with the help of a value. In order to configure this one, I'm just wanted to explain what is the data that you have first of all. So far, whatever the data that you have been working on, if you understood, that is fine. If not, this data is a transaction data of a book sales. Okay, the books where the sales have like city wise, state wise, how many books were sold, what is the unit price, what is the total amount, for the total amount how much you got it, on what day transaction was done, and for the total amount, for the amount paid, Do you need to get any pending amount that was specified? In order to provide some other information, I provide as a actual cost. The total amount that I am selling is 375. How much is the actual cost I specified with respect to another column, so that based on the total amount and actual cost I am calculated a profit. And a latitude and longitude is nothing but for that city the latitude longitude information is there. Okay, so that information is available with us. Now the value is nothing but amount paid, how much amount that we got, and what is the minimum value from where you wanted to start. Even if you give or if not give, that is fine. And what is the maximum value? Maximum value, how much money that you can get, is how much money that you can get. You can get a maximum of the total amount. Maximum of total amount you can get it. So the total amount is the maximum value. And out of it, what is your target? My target is, if I get my actual cost, I am in a safe zone. If I get more than actual cost, I will be in a profit state. So do you have any in between targets? Actual cost is my one of the target. So actual cost is my target value. So now it is showcasing, this visual is giving that, boss, your you are going to get a maximum of 71k. Out of that, your target is 66. You achieved 58. That is what it is representing. Okay. So these are the properties that we need to configure. And minimum value, if you have any minimum value that, if you have any minimum value to represent, you can use it. Otherwise, by default, it will start from a 0. Now the properties available here are focus mode, which is maximize, and export data is going to export the data, and show data, the data associated with this visualization will be showcased. So here the amount paid, total amount, actual cost is there, that is what getting represented. And remove spotlight, and here the options are gauge axis. Gauge axis is nothing but, it is not mean that all the values will come from a one source. Sometimes you might or you might not get these values. At that time, it might be a manual values also. In that context, if I don't provide a target value here, go to the gauge axis, it is asking me that what is the target. So if you provide an input from a column, you will not have the option here. If you don't have input, you can provide a manual value from here. Okay, so I'm setting a manual value of 63. Okay, and data colors, how you wanted to represent the colors. So for a amount paid or whatever the value that you got, what you want to give as a color, I will give as a the green color. And what is your target, how you want to represent your target? I want to represent a target with that red color. And data labels, with what color you want to represent a data label, and how you want to represent, and what is the size of it. Now you can see the size. You want to provide exact value, or you want to provide a, you want to represent through thousands or automatic, or if you want to represent, sometimes 71.5k will be there. If you want to represent any decimal, you can see 71.3 in a previous context, that is, as it is a single value, that is different, and here you have a clear values there. And text size, and how you want to represent font family, and target. So now the target is nothing but target level configuration. So target, with what color the value we wanted to represent, I want to represent with a none, and the color is red, and I want to increase this size, I want to highlight this one. Okay, so the text size, font family, and a call out value. Call out value is nothing but this value. With what color, that is a fixed size, and with what color that you want to represent, and how you want to represent. Okay, So even the day before yesterday, many people asked in a WhatsApp group how to represent this value. Okay, so they used to give each and everything as part of a question in WhatsApp groups. And value decimals, how many decimals that you want to represent, and title, background, gender, and border. We already had a discussion. But anyways, even though we had a discussion, here by default title is getting created. Okay, understand that one based on the column that you used. If you want to modify the title, you can modify the title over here, or you can align it, you can increase the size, and you can do everything here. So this is about a gauge visualization. Gauge visualization is represented to indicate what is your target and how much you achieved. In order to represent that one, we can use this gauge visualization. Any questions up to here out of these 4 visualization that we covered? Any question up to here? If you don't have a question, just mention no there.
No,
If you have a question, unmute and go ahead. Shankar Reddy, you're saying something?
no questions.
Fine, sir. Ashraf, Brahma, Deepti, Jahnavi, Manasa, Manoj. Okay, fine. So that is about a gauge visualization. And the next one is, before explaining that, we have, as part of a data modeling, we have a concept called a dimension and a fact. Okay, so dimension is nothing but the textual column, whatever you are using, like city name, state name, book name, that will be referred as a dimension. Fact is nothing but a fact, or measure nothing but it is going to represent a value. Okay, so now all the visualizations in any visualization tool, instead of making that generic comment, I can say that in Power BI, each visual at a time maximum can showcase 2 dimensions. Maximum at a time you can represent 2 dimensions. You might have the state, city, product name, product category, and many things you might have, but a visualization at a time maximum it can showcase 2 dimensions. And first of all, there are many new people out there. Dimension and effect. A dimension is nothing but how you want to represent the data. Which is nothing but I am saying that state wise amount paid, city wise profit, book wise pending amount. The book wise, state wise, city wise, how you want to represent, that is nothing but the dimension. Dimension is nothing but the textual columns or a date values or a textual column values will be referred as dimension. As part of our data, the book or a city or a state will be referred as dimensions. Okay, and fact is nothing but what you want to represent. What you want to represent, what data that you want to represent is nothing but a fact. The city wise amount paid, book wise profit, the profit, amount paid, pending amount, total amount, actual cost, everything is nothing but a fact. And all these things. Now, as part of a Power BI, understand some rules based on my understanding. It's not written in any books. So you can represent one dimension, one measure as part of any visualization. So far you observed this one only, and one dimension, multiple measures, that is fine, and two dimensions, one measure, fine, two dimensions, more than one measure will not be possible. And whenever you are representing more than one measure, we cannot use two dimensions. These are the different combinations whenever you are working with the visualizations. Now we'll understand with one visualization, then after you will automatically understand the things. You have to understand, remember the term called dimension, which is nothing but the textual column whatever you are using. Fact is nothing but, or measure is nothing but the value that you are using to represent that dimension. Now I am saying that all the visualizations of this Power BI, you can work with the maximum of these combinations. If I want to work with the 3 dimensions in a single visualization, it cannot be possible. If I am working with the 2 dimensions and the 2 measures I want to represent, it is not possible at a time. So I will showcase all these options now. The same concept will be repeated for all the visualizations. Okay. Now let's take a pie chart. Pie chart here, it is one of the visualization to represent a dimension and a measure. Basic visualization which is available across all the reporting tools. Now here the dimension we need to take state wise the amount paid. Okay, so till last class what we done, we just taken a visualization, we simply dragged the things and we saw the values coming. Now understand, I specified legend as a first dimension and the value. If you are not representing that one, the amount paid is the value representing. What method that you are using is the amount paid. I want to see this value with respect to a specific dimension. That might be a book name or city name or whatever. So at that time I am taking it as state. So this is one dimension, one measure which is representing one second, let me increase the text size. State wise the amount paid. Here the dimension is state and the value is the amount paid. So you are able to see that you can represent that one dimension and one measure. Now one dimension and multiple measures. I want to showcase each state wise what is the actual cost and what is the amount paid. I want to see that one. In that scenario, you can see here the amount paid is 27,800. The actual cost is 27,540.